The Revelation Explained by F. G. Smith, Chapter 8, Part 3. We begin with the Book of Revelation, Chapter 8, verses 8 and 9. And the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. We continue now with the commentary. The symbol of this trumpet is that of a volcanic mountain cast into the sea, whence it sends forth its streams of lava in every direction, until a third of the creatures in the sea are destroyed, thus spreading desolation on every side. It would naturally remain where it fell, a permanent instrument of destruction. We have here a description of the next step of importance in the downfall of the Western Empire. The second great invasion was that of the terrible Gennesaret, with his Vandal hordes, who pushed southward through Gaul and Spain, conquered the Carthaginian territory of northern Africa, and there formed a permanent independent government in AD 439. From this fixed place he continued for years to make incursions upon the bordering cities and islands, burning the cities, murdering the inhabitants, and intercepting the commerce of the Mediterranean. During his military career, from 429 to 468, he became the terror of the inhabitants of the empire, insomuch that historians designate him, quote, the terrible Gennesaret, end quote. The depredations committed by his followers were but a repetition of such scenes of barbarity as have already been described in the invasions of Alaric under the first trumpet. Therefore I will not devote much space to the historical facts in the case. Their deeds, however, were such that the very term Vandal has come to be used as a designation of any man of ferocious character. Concerning the important part that this chieftain acted in the downfall of the Western Empire, Gibbon uses this significant language, quote, Gennesaret, a name which, in the destruction of the Roman Empire, has deserved an equal rank with the names of Alaric and Attila, end quote, from Volume 3, page 370. In the year 454, the Empress Eudoxia wished to be revenged on Maximus, who had murdered her husband, Valentine, and had grasped the throne, and she secretly invited Gennesaret to attack Rome. That fierce general, who is described by the Encyclopedia Britannica as, quote, cruel to bloodthirstiness, cunning, unscrupulous, and grasping, end quote, was glad to undertake the task, and he soon landed an army of Vandals and African Moors at the gates of the city. It was soon taken, and for 15 days given over to be sacked by the barbarous soldiery. When they had glutted their savage instincts with the horrible deeds of murder and rapine, loaded with the spoils of the imperial city, they returned to Africa, taking with them an immense number of captives, including Eudoxia and her 2 daughters. This desolating incursion left the empire weak and tottering to its fall. Gennesarec, quote, became the tyrant of the sea. The coasts of Italy, Greece, and Asia were again exposed to his revenge and avarice. Tripoli and Sardinia returned to his obedience. He added Sicily to the number of his provinces, and before he died, in the fullness of years and glory, he became the final extinction of the Empire of the West. End quote. From Gibbon, Volume 3, pages 497 and 498. By, quote, the sea, end quote, into which this burning mountain was cast, is meant not the Mediterranean, nor any other literal sea, but the heart of the empire, and that in a state of agitation. The empire was in a state of comparative quiet when Alaric appeared. Therefore, the storm of hail and fire is represented as falling upon the earth, as a result of which society was thrown into a state of great agitation and moved to its depths, like an ocean in a storm. This was its condition when Gennesarec, from his fixed position in Africa, began his desolating incursions. Therefore, the next symbol is that of a mountain cast into the sea. By the sea becoming blood is doubtless meant the destruction of life in the empire. And the third part denotes the vast extent of the destruction. I must speak with hesitation on what is signified by the creatures which were in the sea, and the ships. By analogy, I would be led to refer the former to the rulers and the dignitaries in the empire, they bearing an analogous position to the empire that fishes do to the waters of the sea, while the latter may refer to public monuments and structures. End of chapter 8, part 3.